The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Wednesday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you, as always, by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. Anthony Harwick. Ty Bartell is with us. His camera is currently updating on his computer, so for the next few minutes, we're just going to have his voice. Ty, can you hear us?
Yeah, we're hearing you, and we're all good. We're gonna be getting on here in just a second. It jumped on and was like, "Why don't we scratch this one off your list?" And I was like, "Right now," and it was like, "Yeah, you don't have a
now.
clip."
Yeah, now.
So
And I
we're-
guess it doesn't have the option to be like, do it later.
I've been doing it for too long. I've been doing it every day, and then it finally was like, "All right, we're doing it now." Like I never found the time to actually update it.
One of those days, you should have just updated it after the show.
Yeah.
Oh well, we are hindsight's 2020, and my eyesight just got approved. So I was at the eye doctor's all morning. It was a hour long doctor appointment to tell me, hey, you're still really blind. Congratulations, your eyesight hasn't really changed too much. But here's your new prescription.
Bad eyes confirmed. All right,
confirmed. Here's a new prescription. Ty, but we had a lot of baseball and softball going on yesterday. We have a couple of champions crowned and a couple of a couple of next games, I should say, forced. Creekside, we'll start with Class B, like we always do. You know what? Before we do that, let's backtrack. Let's preview the show today. We are going to have guests on. Marissa Davies, the head coach of the Boardman 12U softball team that won their state championship last night. She'll be joining us at 12:30 on the show here, and then Brian Tolnar at 1:00. So that's what we have in store. So we'll talk a little bit more about Boardman softball when we get to her. There's your camera. There's that beautiful face. Anyway, we'll go from there. But down to Class B baseball, Creekside got the win last night, and they forced a Game 4.
And they did it in such a way too against the Astro Falcons, and they kind of did what Astros done to teams all season. They jumped ahead early. They added some runs towards the end of the game, and they were able to hold on to that lead this time. Quality pitching held Astro to 2 runs yet again. And really, the one thing, even though Creekside has been down in this series, I said yesterday too, I said I believe that Creekside is a good enough team to make this 4 games. And my reasoning behind it is showcased once again in Game 3. Creekside's pitching, despite the fact that they're down in the series, has looked really good against the Astro Falcons, and they've kind of taken that regular season and kind of just thrown it in the closet, tucked it away, and never looked at it again, because ever since this tournament started, this looks like a different Creekside team against the Astro, albeit Astro still has the lead, but they've been a lot more competitive against the Falcons this time around.
Well, what was a big momentum shifter in those first 2 games against the Astro Falcons? It was walks, 16 walks in 2 games. This night, only 2 walks for Creekside. So their pitchers limited the free bases, and I should say pitcher, because it was just Braden Ziegler that pitched the complete game, 7 innings, gave up 3 hits, 2 earned runs, and only walked 2. Only struck out 2, but only walked 2. And it was a total of 92 pitches to get through 7 innings. That's very efficient.
I believe correct that too, and that's 82 pitches to get through those 7.
Sorry,
Yeah, no, you're good. 82
It
pitches.
is an 8. See,
Which,
my doctor confirmed.
at the end of the day, that comes down to what? You're roughly around like 12 pitches, if that, an inning, like right around that. So you put that all together. That is a model of efficiency, because if that's telling me anything, that's telling me it's taking you 12 pitches an inning. That's about 4 pitches an out then that it's taking you
That's
to
less than 12, by the way. Just did the math. 11.7, and if you round up, it's 11.7. So
just under 12. That's efficiency against a really good lineup that forces a lot of counts. Being able to retire them that quickly, 11 pitches an inning, you're getting in and out of the inning, you're getting quick outs, you're forcing that weak contact. And we've seen pitchers like that have more success this year against Astro than your strikeout pitchers, because Astro can catch up to the speed. You're not going to blow much by Astro. They're going to be able to catch up to a lot of fastballs. But those guys that have that good breaking stuff or good movement, even on their fastball, that can kind of force that weak contact, we saw them have a field day against Astro yesterday.
to contrast, I believe yesterday the starter for, well, not yesterday, but the day before in game 2, I believe the starter for Creekside threw like over 100 pitches in 4 innings.
Which is incredible to see that
So
kind
really,
of that shift.
just to prove that the Astro Falcons are really good at working up your pitch count. The fact that you go 7 innings with 82 pitches, that's impressive
Won't
against
even
this
touch
lineup.
the century mark either, and that's really impressive too. And like you said, Ann, I mean, we just saw guys just the last or just a couple of days ago, yesterday, a matter of fact, that was throwing 100 pitches in 4 innings against this Astro team. So it's definitely a team that knows how to work the count and get you into some situations. Right now, too, I mean, still needing 3 days rest because he threw over 75 pitches, but wouldn't that have been something if he was able to get just a few pitches off, too? But he'll need the 3 days rest, so likely not going to see him again in this series. But Ziegler, what a game he pitched.
But now it opens up to, your starters on Sunday could be available to come and pitch game 4.
Well,
Or if not 4, then definitely game 5.
you got to figure, if you're Creekside, you're going into that game last night saying, all right, don't let us win this one, because if we win this one, game 4, we got home field advantage, and game 5, anything could happen. It's anybody's game at that point.
Because remember, in game 1, they only gave up 2 runs. It was a 2-1 game. So they feel like if they can get their pitching back from game 1, then they would be lock, stock, and barrel to compete for a championship. If it were to line up that way, where their pitchers from 1 were available for 5. So they just have to win this game, get to a 5th game, and then they can throw out their number 1s again.
What do you think this time around for Creekside to stay alive? I know we'll go in depth a little bit more, kind of shout out the guys we're looking at, but I mean, for this matchup, what is the one thing game plan wise that you see Creekside needing to do to come away with a game 4 victory?
Look, they've been playing good baseball all series. Like they out hit the Astro Falcons in game 1, still lost 2-1. They scored 3 runs, which is good against this pitching staff, and they had a 3-2 lead in the 7th in game 2. So I don't think the plan necessarily has to change. I think what they did really a lot better in this game 3, than the other 2 that they have to keep doing is not giving the Astro Falcons free bases, because I don't care how good you're pitching. If the free bases are coming with errors or walks, either way, eventually this puts a lot of pressure on you to be perfect against this lineup. You're going to start to see pitchers aim a little bit more than just throw, and that's when you kind of make mistakes over the plate. So I think the key for Creekside, 1, keep doing what you're doing, because everything else is working. The offense is doing pretty good. The pitching staff is keeping them in check as far as hits and runs are concerned. You just got to keep staying away from the free bases, giving the Astro Falcons walks or giving them base on an error.
Yeah, I agree too. This is,
And
like we said, it's a team that'll beat you with your mistakes too. You can't give them free bases.
free bases and extra bases, hit the cutoff. Don't let them go from first to second on a play that you can't get the play at home. The little things like that the Astro Falcons will absolutely take advantage of if you're not really shored up in your routine, because that kind of thing doesn't go down as an error in the stats, but it's still giving up an extra base, and then all of a sudden you have a runner in scoring position, where if you hit the cutoff, then all of a sudden that runner has to stay on first. And yes, they scored that run, but you probably weren't going to get that run anyway. So in those kind of situations, make sure you're shored up, your outfielders know where to throw the ball and things like that. You just have to play clean baseball.
I think too, like if you look at exactly what these teams have done, I mean, really, the interesting part, only 5 base runners allowed entirely by Creekside. No errors. Like you said, 3 hits, 2 walks, and it was all spread out with the exception of those 2 runs scored in the second. So again, Astro got all their offense in 1 inning, and just like game 1, shut out by Creekside the rest of the way through. Not even really base runners that were allowed by Creekside after that point. So whatever it is, Creekside has a good game plan they're attacking Astro with. Granted, it hasn't worked out because that's what great teams do. They find ways to win even when you have good game plans against them. But I got to credit Creekside right now. It seems like out of all the teams that have faced Astro this year, they have the best game plan going against them.
Well, yeah, and it's a tremendous credit to have this game plan because, like we said at the start of this series, regular season against the Astro Falcons did not go well for Creekside. Not only did they lose, they weren't competitive. I think every game was a double-digit win for Astro Falcons, if I'm not mistaken, or at least close to that. They weren't close. They weren't close games. So to come in with maybe a revised game plan or maybe just a better executed game plan, but then to stick with it after you lose the first 2 games, you know how hard that is to not be like, okay, we got to change something. We're losing, especially for young kids, to just stay the course and know, in your heart and in your mind that we are playing good baseball. And if we trust the process, results will come. That's the big thing about baseball. You see coaches tell kids all the time, trust the process because that's what's going to get you to where you want to be. You're not always going to get the results from the process because that's the sport. You're going to fail even if you're doing everything right. But you got to stay the course and trust the process. And it seems like Creekside did that yesterday. They just had the exact same game plan. They said it's working. It didn't go our way, but everything's working the way we want it to. So let's just trust the process and get the results. And they did last night.
Here's some fun facts for you. In the 3 regular season matchups, Astro was 3-0 against Creekside, outscored them in combined 34-2 in 3 games against Creekside, 34-2, including 2 shutouts of 10 runs more. Run ruled them twice in the regular season. In this series, Creekside has not only beat the Astros now 1 game, but they have out-hit them twice too, and at one point even had the lead against them in game 2. So like you said, Ant, it's about just convincing the guys to stay the course, because you got to be like game 1. We gave up the initial lead, but we held them scoreless, no hit them for 6 innings after that. And then you go into game 2. You said you have a lead all the way until the 7th. If we don't falter in that 7th inning, we could be looking at a 2-0 lead right now. So Creekside finally puts it all together. They cut out all the mistakes. They play damn near perfect baseball all the way around, and they finally get a series out of this. We're going to game 4.
No one hit the panic button down 2-0.
No.
That's the most impressive thing. Like, it's easy. Like Astro Falcons, they're big, they're mighty. They're up 2-0 on us. Everyone's running around chaotic. No, they were just like calm, cool, collected. They went out and won the game.
I think those first 2 innings were so huge, and I think they defined this game. Creekside grabbing that first run out of the gate, top of the first inning, making sure that Astro does not have a lead to start this game. And then they, not only that, they shut out Astro in that bottom of the first 2. And Astro, how they are. 1-0 leads don't matter as much, but then getting 3 runs by Creekside in the top of the second, it was 4-0. That's when Astro starts waking up. And you saw they responded in the bottom of that inning.
That's when the advantage goes to the away team in my mind. The early innings of the game, advantage away team, because they have the opportunity to set the tone right out of the gate. Just boom, we get to score first. No matter what you do on offense, we're up 1-0 in the first inning. So I think later in the game, it's advantage home team, especially if it's close. But start of the game, sometimes advantage away team, because you have that mentality where you can say, we get to set the tone. Like, we get to go out, we get to swing the bats first. And if we set the tone and score in the first inning, then we will have the tone for the rest of the game.
I think the big thing, too, Brandon Ziegler really did on the mound for Creekside last night. It just showcased, too, that as talented as Astro is, we've gone over their numbers. They lead or in the top 3 in almost every single baseball statistical category at Bob Scene Park. But they're still human. They still make mistakes, and they are beatable. And Creekside showcased that once again. And I think the biggest inning, bottom of that second, allowing Astro not to come back into that game like they do so many signature times. When you finally get them with a good punch, they'd like to come back and get you with 2 right hooks and knock you down. They only held them to 2 runs in that response inning. It was a 4-2 lead, and the biggest thing after that was, I feel like Astro was a little bit deflated that they didn't come back, left some guys on base that inning. And the big thing was the next inning, too, Ziegler coming out and just slamming that door consistently, inning after inning after inning.
You know what Ziegler proved? He proved that even if you're a really good hitter, it's tough to hit really good pitching. It's a hard thing to do. and you're gonna fail more than not than when it's a really good executed pitch. And he executed a lot of pitches. I mean,
You're not going to get this Astro team to chase after bad pitches. That's the
No.
biggest thing.
so you have to throw quality strikes in the zone. So you have to swing at it, but it's also not going to have strong contact.
Easily, I think the most aggressive team in Bobsine Park in that 18U division this year was
Which
the
is
Astro
crazy
Falcons.
because Ty, usually when you say they're an aggressive batting team, that usually comes with a lot of strikeouts because that means they're swinging
Yeah.
at stuff. But they don't strike out that
No,
much.
they know how
walk
to
a lot.
force at bats. But what Ziegler did was use that aggressiveness against him. He threw strikes, but like you said, he threw those quality strikes. He kept it on the corners. He jammed them inside. He got it off the end of the bat, forcing that weak contact all game long. It showcased why his pitch count was so low, but he was able to deal through those innings really quickly. And you know that second inning, he probably had a lot more than 11 pitches. So that tells me there was a few innings where this guy was throwing under double-digit pitches. He was getting a few 8-9 pitch innings in there as well.
The Falcons break the rules of baseball because they usually say, the patient lineups draw a lot of walks and the aggressive ones have a lot of strikeouts. Nope, they're an aggressive lineup and they will swing at you, but they also draw a whole lot of walks.
They swing at a ton of first pitch strikes, do the Astro Falcons, but that's the biggest thing is they're all quality batters. They know how to still force it.
Well, that means that
Force the
there's
count back even.
no hitting coach in that dugout that's saying always take the first pitch, which is just a pet peeve.
Yeah. I mean,
You cannot always take the first pitch no matter what. That cannot be a rule when you go up to the plate. I'm always going to take the first pitch.
yeah, and some of them do, but like I said, they just all have quality batter eyes. They're all high IQ baseball players. They know even when they're down in the count, they have the ability to get right back even or even ahead in the count a multitude of ways.
Because how many times, Ty, have we seen the first pitch be the best pitch you get in that at bat?
It's what you got.
And if you take it automatically, you're going to be like, well, oops.
I'm all for just kind of letting baseball players be baseball
Right.
players. Because, I mean, there's the mindset some coaches have. Swing at that first pitch. It's the best you're going to get. Others say take it. Like, go be a baseball player. You know what a strike is. You know what a
Right.
ball is. Go play baseball.
I would never tell a player to always swing at the first pitch. But
No.
I would never tell the player to always take the first pitch.
I feel like you just
Go
reinforce
up with a
that
game
plan.
plan. Go up with a game plan. If the ball is in the zone that you're looking for, swing at it, even if it's the first pitch.
I'm not a fan of taking thought out of even one pitch for a game, right? Because that's what you're doing. You're eliminating thought completely for
Right.
that pitch by saying you're swinging or you're taking. I don't care what it is. You're just eliminating thought. And I feel like that's just a waste of a strategy for even one pitch because we've seen one pitch mean the difference of a whole ball game a multitude of times yet again.
Ty, that's Class B. We'll have Game 4 tonight in Bob Seam Park between Creekside and Astro Falcons as they still are fighting to try to decide who will be the 18U champions. The first series in the Class B championship series between 16 and 8U that went more than the 3 games allotted. The 14U went 4, so they'll see if the 18U can push it to 5, which would be the longest of the season, or if the Astro Falcons will end it tonight. Ty, for the first time in the Little League districts, we have an if necessary game.
Yes.
We had 6 total districts between baseball and softball, so the odds were in our favor that we were going to have at least one team force an if necessary game, and we got it. Poland got the win last night in 9U baseball over Canfield, 4-1. They will play again tonight in a winner-take-all championship game that will be on L1 at 6 o'clock. So Poland not done yet.
Battle of 224 in this instance goes to the Dogs, and they still stay alive for now. A game where all the marbles are on the line. Canfield cannot make any more mistakes now going forward. This is winner go home time now, and it's the Battle of 224 Part 2.
Canfield got the win in the 10U department to win the championship and forego that if necessary game. But boy, was it another close one. We had a 5-4 game 2 nights ago. We have a 5-4 game last night as well. Canfield beats Poland 5-4. Championship effort on both sides. It's what you love to see out of Little League baseball. And as DJ would no doubt say, no reason to hang your hats no matter what team you're on because there is a championship effort.
Absolutely. And when you get to that level, I mean, you hear the little leaguers say it all the time when they recite their oath too. It's just leaving it all out there on that field. And that's exactly what we saw yet again is, I mean, Poland, regardless of the fact that the results haven't been going their way in a lot of these divisions, they have still been leaving it all out on the field. have been battling tooth and nail all 6 innings, every single outing, and it's been nothing shy of impressive from the Poland Bulldogs. And one thing's for certain, I think baseball is going to be alive and well in that community for some years to come.
Look at this. I mean, look at this. Like I said, we had 6 districts between baseball and softball. Poland was, I believe, in 5 of them. They were in the 10U softball. They were in all the baseball ones, if I'm not mistaken. Boardman beat Poland in both 11U and 12U. And then Canfield just beat Poland in 10U. And then Canfield lost to Poland last night in 9U. So Poland, with the ball stick sports, strong in the youth programs.
You got to imagine that this is exciting times too for the Bulldogs, especially at that varsity level too, looking at all the talent they have for the next however many years, 9 years you got, 9 years deep worth of just ball talent that is playing at such a high level at such young ages too, going out there competing, getting to this kind of stage here locally. It has to be a good feeling too. And I mean, pat on the back for all those youth coaches in Poland, putting in the time and really doing their best too to enhance these kids' level of play at the game, but also make sure that they're having a great time while doing so.
So Canfield's 10U advances to the state tournament, and we will once again have an if necessary game in Little League Baseball tonight between Poland and Canfield to decide who goes in 9U.
Poland with a chance to get one team in the race, and you know for sure the Dogs would love nothing more than to get at least one team in that race. Do you think the one team would make up for a little bit of the heartbreak and the heartache they've had to suffer the last few days?
I think so.
As long as you get one at that
champion,
table,
right?
I
want it.
I gotta imagine you're close with that Poland community. You know how much they love their sports. Poland would just be happy to get someone in there playing sports a little bit longer for that.
They're trying to talk to the baseball universe, saying like, "You've beat us up, you've beaten us up all week. Give us something.
We've suffered enough. Can we get one win?" But we know I've seen this Canfield 9U team a couple.
I know they're good.
They're a good.
They got
team.
pitching for days.
So I mean, you gotta do it a second time. But hey, the confidence Poland has right now is we already did it once. We already showed we can do it. Let's just do it again.
Yeah, you've already gotten past the pressure game where it's okay. We're in elimination. Our backs are against the wall. Now both teams, it's an elimination game. Both teams' backs are against the wall. It's a much more even playing ground. So it'll be interesting to see what team comes out with momentum, because obviously you would think that Poland has momentum, but that's not always how it works. Sometimes the team that lost that game comes back with a fire in their belly to still get the championship. That game will be tonight at 6 o'clock from the Field of Dreams L1 field. DJ Oakley will have the call, and it will be a fun night of baseball. Also on the network tonight, of course, we talked about the Class B. Game 4 will be called by Matt Mayer, and that game will be at Scene 1 at 7 o'clock for the 18U championship.
It's going to be really exciting tonight to see all these teams in action as well. We're going to see if we can get a championship crown in that Poland versus Canfield round 2. And I guess before we close the book on that discussion, just in your opinion too, being in the coaching expertise that you've seen and just seeing too the amount of talent that you've gotten to see, what kind of dividends do you think this pays for these kids experience-wise to have this kind of pressure game this early in their life going forward once they make high school run?
It's invaluable. Every time you can put an athlete in a situation where they have to test themselves and they have to kind of dig deep and they have to trust in their own abilities, because that's all you have out there on a baseball field is your own abilities. So anytime you can kind of put a student athlete in that kind of position, live game, experience is experience. What does Loki say in Avengers? I consider experience. Whether you win or lose, you're in that game and you're in that championship atmosphere. You're in that elimination atmosphere. The clutch gene, starts to kick in because, we like to joke, but no one's born with the clutch gene, right? Some people just develop it when they're young and they get it, and some people don't. But I don't think it's something that you're like born with. Like you come out of the womb and you're like, yeah, I can go, hit a home run in the bottom of the 7th down by 2, no problem, No one's strolling out of the womb with a cane, twirling it like, yeah, this is me. Clutchness is, something that some people will argue that some people will never really have per se. Like you can't develop it to the point of your who's one of the really clutch basketball players. Stephon Curry. He can hit a shot whenever he wants. Because of the pressure, and obviously because of his talent too. But yeah, that clutch gene, they call it a gene, but I don't think it's something you're necessarily born with the ability. It still has to grow inside you. So I think putting kids in that position early and often is going to be very valuable to their growth. And, the more you play in states or districts, the more you're going to be experienced in that atmosphere. And talking about that atmosphere, Ty, we move from baseball to softball, and we have a state champion in summer. Question mark?
Yeah, I mean, it could happen even in the summer, too.
We didn't get one in the spring for baseball or softball, but we got one in the summer. Let's go. Boardman 12U softball wins the state championship 14-2 over Clay. This is the team they lost to on Sunday to get into the losers bracket. They put a pounding on Clay this time around, though. They scored 4 runs in the top of the first inning, Clay answered with 2. It was a 4-2 game. This is going to be a competitive championship until the top of the 5th when Boardman exploded for 10 runs in the top of the 5th, and they actually won in run rule fashion after the 5th inning, 14-2. Addie Velocin continues her incredible state championship run with a 3 RBI day. She had 2 hits, including a bases clearing double with the bases loaded for 3 RBI. You had Addie Rudge also have multiple hits, as well as Taylor Watts, who had 3 hits. Emily Swantek had multiple hits as well. And then you have Emma Davies, Lily Sardich, Mia Dubel, and Addie Fiddler all had hits on the day as well. Emma Davies went 5 innings in the circle. She struck out 5 and gave up 2 runs on 3 hits, walked none. Boardman's first Little League softball state championship since 1976. And they will advance to the Central Region Tournament in Whitestown, Indiana, and that starts on July 25th.
How's I don't know if you've gotten a chance to talk with old Mootsie yet, but how's Fred?
On top of the world, Ty, on top of the world.
I've seen his social media post, so I know he's feeling it right now. But I'm just curious if you talked with him personally, because I'm sure he's over the moon right now.
A couple of parents went live at the game, so props to them for keeping us all here at home updated. But he texted me as soon as that final out was recorded, and he was state champs in all caps, and I was like, "Yeah, buddy, let's go!" So they're all excited, and they get to go to regionals now. They are 1 bracket win away from going to the Little League World Series.
Wouldn't that be something too to have that? What a great way to kind of spend the rest of our summer vacation, right? Rooting on a team going to the World Series.
Here we go. One more challenge away, and they have to win regionals once again. They have a couple of minutes off. They won't start regionals until July 25th in Whitestown, Indiana, which I believe is pretty close to Indianapolis, if I'm not mistaken. We're gonna have their head coach Marissa Davies come on at 12:30, but first we're gonna take a little break and get ready for that. When we come back, Marissa Davies, the head coach of the Boardman 12U softball team, on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our Valley's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the Valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa.
And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing.
Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships.
We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team.
Your goals, our game plan.
Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Change. This one word can make you break out in a cold sweat. But with change comes wisdom, experience, and understanding. At Myers Family Insurance, we can help make changes in Medicare, insurance, and retirement a positive experience for you and your family. We've gone through changes, like our new office and new faces to help our family of clients too.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com or find us on Facebook.
Jimmy Sudman here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and two of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
How lucky are we to have not one, but two 18-hole Donald Ross Championship golf courses right here in our backyards. Mill Creek Golf Course was selected by Golf Week as one of America's 30 best municipal courses, continuing to challenge golfers of all levels and featuring PGA professionals, golf instruction, a players' rewards club, kids programs, and a pro shop and grill room for a memorable golf experience. Call or click to schedule your tee time at Mill Creek Golf Course.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we offer a worry-free experience for all our customers. From sales to financing and even service, we'll help build your perfect vehicle
and lock in your trade value
while your vehicle is being built.
No worries.
We guarantee financing,
regardless of your situation or credit history.
No worries. And when your vehicle needs service,
our award-winning team will get you back on the road.
No worries.
That's what going the extra mile means. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Now is the time to think about your future, where you want to go, what you want to be. Your future can start now at Kent State Salem or Kent State East Liverpool. We have programs that will open doors and provide opportunities for you to pursue your passion. We are affordable, we are close. You call it hometown, we call it Kent State University. Learn more at www.kent.edu/Columbiana. You belong here.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell, and we are going to be joined by someone who must be living pretty high right now. Marissa Davies, the head coach of the Boardman 12U softball team, the new state champions. Coach, how are we doing today?
Oh, great. And I woke up feeling amazing, so...
Coach, we always talk about the excitement that we get to see the kids have when this kind of thing happens, and it's always a great time. But from a coaching perspective, I mean, all the tools, all the lessons, all the teachings that have gone into these kids. What was your emotional level like once that final out you realized was registered and you guys got the first state title since 1976?
Oh, amazing! I think I took a deep breath and I was like, oh my gosh, it just happened. I mean, I've been pretty energetic, I guess the word would be to say, throughout both the district and state tournaments. So, yeah, I was just full of emotions and so excited and proud of the girls. So
this journey to the state championship wasn't easy in this bracket. I mean, you had a Talmadge team that fought you to 8 innings both times you played them. You had to drop a game on Sunday and fight out of the losers bracket to win this. I mean, how proud are you of these girls to fight through the adversity that they hadn't really experienced yet and get through these really tough games in the state?
Yeah, so proud. I mean, couldn't be prouder of them. I mean, those 2 games that we played against Talmadge, both extra innings and 8 innings, and we won at the bottom of the 8th. I mean, amazing games. Then we lost that one to Clay. I think that kind of was a little wake-up call for the girls who had never experienced, a loss before. And then we came back super strong, and the championship game was just like the bats unloaded again, just like districts, and it was just amazing.
I asked Anthony this a little bit earlier in the show, but I want to extend the question to you too. From a coaching perspective, how valuable do you think these kind of experiences are going to be for these girls if they choose to continue their softball career into high school?
Oh, these experiences that they're getting right now is just only going to help them in the future down the road. I mean, from my own personal standpoint, I mean, I grew up and played all through Little League. You know, I played in the state tournament. So just like looking back, and then if you get to high school and you're playing, you're going through the playoffs and you're trying to get up to that state championship game. You just look back on those memories and you're like, hey, we faced this adversity. We went through this. We did this, and it's only life lessons that these girls are gained. So.
I want to talk up some of these players, and I guess we'll start in the circle because you got two of them that battled all week for this state championship. You know, Emma Davies, everyone kind of knows her name, but Emily Swantek took the circle in that extra inning game against Talmadge the second time and really pitched well for those two clean innings, let you guys win in the bottom of the eighth. And what I hear is she's self-taught too. So that's really impressive. Talk about your pitchers and what you've seen from them when the level of play went up and how they responded to the challenge of this state bracket.
Oh, I mean, our pitcher's amazing. I mean, they were so strong out there, so tough. I mean, faced with so many different things going on during the game. I mean, the game we played Talmadge, it went extra innings. I kept Emma in, and she was super strong all the way to the end. And I knew, you know, she wouldn't be able to pitch that next day. So Emily came back in that first game against Clay, took the loss, but she pitched amazing that game, just didn't get any run support, and the defense kind of failed her. And then that second game against Talmadge went extra innings. I kind of had to make a choice, and I decided, you know, take Emma out, put Emily in. I knew she was going to get the job done, so I wanted both pitchers ready to go for the championship game, and it worked. It worked out perfect. So they were just so super strong. I mean, the fans were loud from the other team. The team was loud. I mean, that team from Clay had cowbells that were super loud. So they were just trying. I was like, tune it out, ignore it, and they both did amazing. Super proud of them.
It seems like coaches too, especially in the Little League realm, one of the toughest things they have to deal with is the mental approach to the game for the kids too, and being able to kind of flush those bad plays, flush those losses. So I guess my question is, after that, suffering that loss to Clay the first time around, what were the kind of conversations like with the team to kind of talk them down and have them come in with a fresh mindset that second matchup?
Yeah, we as coaches, we immediately were like, girls, this game's done. Like, we're forgetting about it. We're moving on. Like, we cannot dwell on anything that happened during this game. We gotta, you know, stay strong and focus on what we need to do and for our goal for the next game. So we kind of we talked about it, you know, we talked about it initially about the game and everything and what we needed to work on. And then we said, okay, done, out of mind. Like, we got to get moving on to the next game. So, and the girls did a great job doing that.
All right, we talked about your pitching. Now we can talk about your offense. And this lineup 1 through 9 is really good and really consistent. You've had different players step up through districts and state. You know, you had Mia Dubel hit the grand slam against Canfield. You know, Taylor Watts has been consistent in the top of the order. Addie Rudge kind of caught a hot streak in the state tournament. So did Addie Velocin. Talk about this lineup and how much of a blessing it is to have, you know, so many girls that can go up and be that kind of hero every night.
Oh, from a coach, like, it's just like a dream, this team, because all the way, like you said, from 1 to 9, like, anybody that can step up, and everybody has at some point in time, and it's been amazing. I mean, and even the girls that have come in have all stepped up as well. So this team, I think everybody has done their job. Everybody knows, like, they have a role, and this team is just so special in the fact that, like, everybody can do it. So it's just something that, you know, I couldn't have asked for as a coach, just be like, hey, everybody can step up and do it, and they can. So
to kind of flip that question on its head, I want to ask, what were some challenges, or were there any challenges throughout the season trying to balance that lineup out and playing time, having so much talent on one single roster?
Oh yeah, it's a challenge for sure. We kind of got thrown into a little loop too when one of our players left to go on vacation for a little bit. So then we had to kind of reconfigure the roster and figure out what we wanted to do. But it worked out perfectly. I mean, all these girls have stepped up into the roles, and it's just amazing. So I'm super proud of all of them.
Here you are, one obstacle away from punching a ticket to the Little League World Series. You got regionals starting on July 25th. What is the game plan to try to keep these girls locked in until then and go into Indiana with the best mindset you possibly can?
Yeah, we're all on cloud nine right now, super excited. But I told him I'll give you like a day or two, to rest, and then we're getting back to the practice schedule, and we're gonna get ready, and we're just gonna hit the ground running in a couple days and get going. I got like all the information today, so I got to go through everything and get everything figured out. But yeah, we're gonna be back to our practice schedule here in a couple days, and we're gonna hit the ground running.
What would you say the message is to the girls going into Indiana for this matchup?
Well, we kind of before each of the districts in the state tournament, we kind of set a goal, and obviously goal number 1 was win districts. Goal number 2 was win state. So we got a new goal, and it's win regionals. So we one game at a time. I keep telling the girls 1 game at a time. We can't look too far ahead, and we're gonna focus on our next goal, win regionals.
All right, we talked about Emma's pitching, but obviously, I think it would be remiss not to talk about your relationship, and obviously, being able to share this as her mom and share this moment with your daughter and be able to share it with her. What's that been like for your perspective?
Oh, it's been awesome. I mean, she's gonna remember these memories for forever, and I'm just so glad I'm able to share them with her. Not only as her mom, but as her coach. I mean, I kind of have to sometimes sit back and just be in awe of like what's going on. Because it's just an awesome experience, and I'm just super proud that she's getting to experience all of this, because she'll never forget this. None of the girls will. I mean, these are memories they're gonna remember forever. So I'm just so glad that all of these girls, especially my daughter, is getting this experience, because they will remember it forever.
I'm interested to know in your career too, and what led you into coaching. What was some of the best advice you've received in your coaching career?
Oh man, that's a tough question. I don't know. There's been so much over the years. I know, like, being mentally tough is something huge, especially, I mean, at every level, but when these girls are still pretty young at this age, the mental toughness is huge. And so I know that's been stressed to me before, like, and when I was growing up and playing, that was always, stressed with me as well. My dad was super big proponent of being mentally tough out there. So I kind of instill that into Emma, and I instill that into the rest of the girls too. Like, we have to be mentally tough. So that's probably the best advice I've ever been given.
Here's the big question. You've won a state championship as a player. Now you've won one as a coach. How do you compare the two, and which one does one sit on top of the other?
I mean, I don't think I could compare it, because they're just different experiences. But yeah, I mean, equally both amazing. So it's pretty cool to be on both ends of the spectrum, on being a coach and being a player. So hopefully, maybe one day that'll be something that Emma can do too. But
because you're such a good coaching mind too in the area, I want to ask from your perspective, because you're a softball connoisseur as well. What is one of the biggest things that you notice is lost from going from the little league era into the varsity realm in high school? What do you notice players lose, whether that's an approach or tactical wise? What is there anything you notice that might get lost or isn't utilized as much going into the varsity levels of high school?
I don't know. That's a tough question too. I mean, I guess I would say, like, I guess from like little league to varsity, there is that time period where a lot of girls decide, like, maybe this might not be something they want to still focus on or continue to stick with. So I do think that there's like a fall off sometimes with some girls, and then they end up quitting, which does kind of stink, because there's a lot of really good players that ended up, either focusing on different sports or deciding not to play altogether. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I really think that just all of the rules and everything that the girls have to follow for little league, kind of helps them, get this whole experience. But yeah, I don't think it's kind of comparable like varsity to Little League, but I do think that there is a fall off, and I think it's age wise too. I mean, the girls just decide, that's something they don't want to do anymore, which hopefully, with this team, these girls all stay together and stick together, because this would be an amazing team.
Well, the one thing they can say is they have the varsity coach of your Boardman program right behind them. He's always at the games. He's been one of your biggest cheerleaders. What's it mean to you to have someone that might be coaching him in the future if everything lines up there and pouring into the youth of the program and making sure that they feel the support from the varsity level down to the Little League level?
Oh, Fred has been awesome. I mean, super supportive. He's always there. He's always, texting me and letting me know, like, congrats, great job, good luck. He's always there to support the girls, and he's done so much for the girls too. He was there last night, and I mean, just his presence there, I think, is something that the girls see and it helps pump them up, that they know, like, they have the support of him and the high school team. And he even said it, like, the whole Spartan Nation is behind you guys, for the whole state tournament and district tournament. So, I mean, that really made the girls feel really good. So.
All right, Coach, before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to shout out your assistants and other big names that have gone into this season and the success behind it.
Oh, yeah. I want to thank both of my coaches, Todd Sardich and Greg Swantek. I couldn't do this without them. They've been amazing. Some other key people that have helped out. My husband, Matt Davies, and Jim Bennett kind of shared the scorekeeping duties, which is super important, especially with trying to keep track of everything for all schools, but Little League has to have you abide by. So I want to thank them. Chuck Rudge, too, also was helping out with some coaching and for practices and everything. And now he's kind of taking on the press side for moving forward. So I want to thank him and just all of the families and the fans. I mean, my families are amazing. These girls, each and every one has an amazing family and super supportive. And our fans are just, there's something else. I mean, super electrifying crowd. So I hope we continue this support moving forward, because they've been amazing.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to hop on and talk to us about this state championship and how it feels and what we should expect going forward. We wish you the best of luck in the next couple of weeks, getting ready for Indiana. And we hope that we get you on again real soon to preview that bracket and what you guys have in front of you.
Yes. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah. Anytime. Yeah, that would be awesome.
All right, Coach, we'll see you later, and live up this feeling. Soak it in.
Yeah, I intend to, but thank you.
Coach Marissa Davies from Boardman 12U Little League Softball, the first state championship for Boardman Little League Softball since 1976. And they are riding high, and they will go to the regional bracket in Whitestown, Indiana on July 25th to fight for a ticket to the Little League World Series.
We're all supporting them here at YSN too. I think I'd be remiss to say that the entire northeastern part of Ohio, all these communities are back in this Little League team representing the entire state going forward too. So let's go Boardman. It's the first one since 1976, and why not Spartans, right?
Why not Spartans? It's Spartan Nation. This is Sparta. Sparta kick, whatever you want to do to get yourself hyped up. We're juiced up, and we can't wait for our continued support and to see what happens next for Boardman. They are one obstacle away, one bracket away from that Little League World Series.
You got a 1-2 punch in that circle too. And how about Emma Davies again last night? I mean, ace.
What I was real impressed with was she's used to getting those high strikeout numbers, right? She's 18 strikeouts in the first matchup against Talmadge. I think 8 strikeouts in the next matchup against Talmadge. Strikeouts galore in all the district matchups. 5 strikeouts still did the job. Like, she wasn't trying to force the strikeout, which sometimes young strikeout pitchers can kind of get into the habit of trying to force a strikeout, try to make the batters chase when they're not chasing, and then those walks can kind of go up. But no, she had 5 strikeouts and no walks, so she wasn't trying to push the issue or force strikeouts. She trusted her defense. She let them put the ball in play. Weak contact, defense made good plays, and she still held a really good Clay lineup to 2 runs without those strikeout numbers.
Comes down to she's really good at just throwing strikes and quality strikes at that. So that's the game plan. She just sticks to throwing strikes. She can mix it up a little bit, but it's either you're swinging and missing or you're swinging and making weak contact. Right. And I mean, that sometimes you see those high strikeout numbers. Other times you see it where she's getting through innings quick and efficiently. lower strikeout numbers, but she's having maybe those 10, 11 pitch innings like we talked about earlier in the
Those
show.
are nice.
No doubt she's going to be a mainstay in this Boardman community, or a mainstay in this area for the coming years. If she sticks with this sport, expect her name to be popping up all over the place.
And then how about Emily Swantek coming in? How, like, I don't know if people understand how impressive or how important that was for her to come into that Talmadge game and take up those last 2 innings. So both pitchers were available last night in the state championship, because if Emma Davies has to pitch 7, then she has to take a 24-hour break. So she wouldn't be able to pitch in the state championship game. So Emily Swantek came in, pitched the last 2, and they were both clean innings with a runner starting on second with nobody out. International tiebreaker rules in the extra innings. So she pitched 2 clean innings and got Boardman the opportunity to walk off that game, and then came in. She was available, and Emma Davies was definitely available for that state championship. That's big to have 2 pitchers that can come in, lock down good lineups, and you can trust to give them the ball in any situation and take care of it.
It's little things like that good coaches and good performances don't get recognized enough in the grand scheme of things for how this team is successful and how it's maintained its success in the long run. And no doubt, I mean, we see talent up and down the lineup. And by the way, Watts is good at softball again. Really, no surprise there.
There's a shock.
Yeah. They're tearing it up too, and so many big names that, like a coach was saying, you hope that they stick with the sport, because if they do, they're going to be names we're talking about here in a few years with the high school scenes for sure.
Hold on, I saw Taylor Watts' numbers throughout the 2 tournaments last night. I want to pull it up real quick. She went a total. This is from districts to state, 16 of 29 at the plate.
Unbelievable type numbers right there. You're batting over 500 at that clip, like that. Elite level. And I mean, I think that's comparable. I think the batting average is almost exactly the same as to what Sydney Watts had in the regular season this year. So I mean, like the Watts are electric is what I've always said too, and it's showcasing it once again.
Wattage is strong, but rivals right now.
Yeah, absolutely. But they're doing a great job here, this Boardman Little League team. Best of luck to them going forward, and hopefully we're talking about some more success down in Indiana.
Man, that would be really fun if they punch a ticket, but one game at a time. That's what we always have to remember. Actually, media members don't, but coaches and players have to remember that one game at a time attitude and make sure they keep up with it. But we as fans are going to be excited and we'll probably look ahead, because that's what fans always do.
Yeah, but hey, we're all behind you here too. All of Ohio's behind Boardman, and we're gonna put it out there and put it on full display too. We're all.
How about that? Like, that's so cool to think, like, those girls are representing the state of Ohio. The whole state of Ohio is represented by Boardman.
Yep, exactly.
Just think about that. Like, you're going to a regional in Indiana where a bunch of teams are coming representing their state, and you're one of them.
Starts to become grand scheme of things at the end of it. It's the same thing as like rooting for your country in the Olympics. Like, why wouldn't you root for them too? Like,
you better root for your state.
Yeah, they might be rivals too when you're in like the qualifiers, but once they're there, it's all for it. I mean, you're rooting for your state. It's Boardman. Boardman is Ohio, and it's Ohio versus the world. Let's go.
Right. It's awesome. Like, it's kind of mind blowing to think of almost.
I mean, it just
imagine if there was a national tournament for high school and the state champions went and represented Ohio in a regional, and there was a world championship for the high school softball, baseball teams.
You almost wish like something like that would happen. That's why Little League is so special in that this can happen too. Because I mean, you talk about competing on a national stage now. Like this is talent level that we're going to see in a state. So like if they're already winning state championships, you're going to be competing at a regional level. Like, imagine what these girls can do when they get to high school. Like, imagine just to have this much talent. Like I've said, I've called it like Murder's Row, that lineup too. Like, you talk about like that 1927 Yankees lineup, like it's like a Murder's Row. It's like bang, 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 bang. Every single one of them can beat you.
We talked about it. I mean, back in that Canfield championship game against Canfield, Cam Harino was handling the top of the order pretty well. It was 2-0. They were putting base runners on, but he was getting out of jams. And then here comes the 8-hitter, and Mia Dubel launches a grand slam. Like, what are you supposed to do with that?
You get run support from the oddest sources, I guess you would say, come tournament time, because everyone needs to step up and everyone gets locked in. And we talk about some of the greatest lineups. We mentioned Bob Seton Park with like the Astros lineup, how you never get a break. This is the same case with this Boardman softball lineup. I mean, now, of course, now when you're going to the regional levels, there's really going to be no breaks through any lineups. But this is the kind of lineup you need to get to that level. You can't allow a pitcher to have an out or two off, and that's not seeming to be the case when you go up against Spartan.
Here it goes. The level of play steps up yet again. It stepped up between district and state. Obviously, Boardman, fought a lot harder to get out of state. They run ruled everybody to get out of district, but they had to fight in extras to get out of state. But now here it comes, like the level up one more time, raise that bar one more time, and get into regionals. And the teams get better and the challenge gets harder. But like you said, still just a boulder that you got to get past, right? So it'll be exciting when we get to see the bracket and see some of the teams and names that they will get to play. And then, of course, 25th, that's when it all starts.
Yeah. And I mean, your next goal, win regionals. But if you're looking grand scheme, again, it's one win off of the grand total of what you need to end the season with.
Right.
So you look at those numbers too. You just next one up, right? Next one up, next one down.
Win or lose in regionals, it's going to be an experience that these girls will never forget, which is just one of the coolest things of Little League baseball and softball. The teams that make it this far, they'll never forget this experience, no matter what they go on to accomplish in their high school, college, whatever careers. This will be one that sticks in their head for their whole lives.
Yeah, and like I said too, especially in like today's age with kids at that age range, to make them completely invest in a sport to help them improve in, but also toe that line in improving their craft and improving the quality they are at that sport, but also having them enjoy it, find fun in it, and love what they're doing at the same time. Credit to these youth coaches too, because I don't think they get shouted out enough, because these youth coaches are doing the most, I think, for these kids as far as high school athletes are concerned. Once we see them and making them love that sport, every kid found that love for a sport in these youth leagues at some point too, and it's because of these coaches that helped kind of lead them to find that love.
While we're talking about our Little League softball teams, reminder that Austintown 10U still awaiting their trip to state. They won the district and they will play in a state tournament. That'll be on July 23rd that weekend. Same place that Boardman was in Ashtabula. So we still awaiting that tournament to start. They're going to get all the older kids squared away first, and then the 10Us will come in on July 23rd. And that's all they have is state. So it's state or bust for 10U. So they're going to fight for a state championship, and we'll look forward to that as well.
We absolutely will look forward to that as well, and we're looking forward to highlighting all the area softball teams too under our coverage map, as well as they make it to their next run in the tournament.
Yeah, let's go. Let's have some fun, and we have one more district to take care of here in baseball. As the 9U is going to an if necessary game, Poland versus Canfield, winner take all tonight. But the other districts have been squared away, so those baseball teams will be heading to state shortly as well.
That's exciting as well too. So just because I think they're a week behind, so just as softball wraps up their state, we're going to get into baseball as well. So we get to preview it with softball, and baseball follows right behind. It's exciting times here in the summer.
Yeah, it never stops, and then when Little League is done, we got NABF baseball coming right into Scene Park. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's venture from baseball to golf and talk a little bit about Brian Tolnar, what's going on at Mill Creek Park this week, as he joins us from Mill Creek as the golf guru that he does every week. Brian, how we doing this week, bud?
I'm doing good, guys. How are you?
I mean, we're doing, I think, as well as we can be. We just talked to some state championship quality coaches. Now we get to talk to some championship quality golf guru expertise in yourself, Brian. I mean, I guess, Brian, the first and foremost thing, let's just preview. I guess we can get right into to Mill Creek a little bit too. I know I've been seeing you posting a lot of things on your social too. And first and foremost, I know there's a concert going on tonight, so I think you want to preview that one first.
Absolutely. We have one of our more popular concerts coming on deck tonight. Justified is the name of the band. It's a country themed band. We've got that live at the Morley tonight at 7:00. So it's a free concert. non-alcohol concert, but you have the opportunity to go down and take part in the Wick Recreation area. They've got the hillside there. They'll have a food vendor there for tonight's concert. It should be a fun night, weather pending. Hopefully this little pop-up opportunity with the thunderstorms will clear out of here by 4 or 5 o'clock, and then 7 o'clock it looks pretty good the rest of the evening. So we're excited to bring the concerts back and be popular with those. We've got about 7 bands lined up for the year. We've got about 3 more left to go, as well as 2 more movie nights down at the Morley. So, as summer is in the heat of things, and we're on the final half of the year, we're excited to present that to the public.
Yeah, the rest of the schedule for the summer, you have Justified tonight. Then next Wednesday, you'll have the Del Sinchak. I hope I'm saying that right. Sinchak band, which is polka.
Yep, it's the polka. Yep.
Get some polka into your blood. I like it. And then back in August for the 10th, we'll have the Swing Time Big Band. That's a swing and Latin music band. And then rounding out the summer for the Live at the Morley, we'll have the K Street Funk Band on August 17th.
Yep, absolutely. The Big Swing Time Band's a new one for us, as well as K Street. Justified was with us last year, and it's nice to see some new participants coming in and sharing their musical talents with us.
What's your favorite genre of concert to go to?
I would say, my wife's is more the country. I'm probably rock, just the era that I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and I think rock's probably my favorite, which is where we let off the beginning of the year with 330.
Do you have like a concert that sticks out in your mind that's like the best you've been to?
Oh boy, I'll tell you what, we went to Keith Urban's probably the last concert that I went to, and that was up in New York around 2014, the year before we moved here. Other than that, it's been a while. It's probably going back to high school or college. I'm embarrassed to even say that.
Oh, Brian, to stay with the Mill Creek Park theme, though, another thing too that's going to be happening pretty timely as well. Drive, chip, and putt happening on Sunday. You want to give us a preview of that and let us know kind of what that is going on?
Certainly, it's if you're familiar with drive, chip, and putt. If you're not, it's similar to what the punt, pass, and kick, or drive, pass, and shoot was like in the era that I grew up. Basically, giving the kids the opportunity. It's a free program through the PGA of America. Each section of the 41 sections throughout the course of the United States host a number of local qualifiers, of which Mill Creek is one and has been one since the program's inception in 2013-14. I know we ran the pilot program to this when I was up in Rochester in 2012, but I think it was just held in New York just to see if it was going to go and had some traction to it. It's been super popular, like PGA Junior League, one of the flagship programs of the PGA of America. It's doubled in size just about each and every year. And how it works is each kid will be given the opportunity to hit 3 drives on a 40-yard wide grid. Every 10 yards is worth X amount of points, all the way up to 320 yards, based on how far and how accurate that you can hit it. So not only do you have to hit it far, but you have to hit it within the grid and be very accurate. And then the kids will have the opportunity, once they finish up the driving portion of the skill, they'll come over and they'll do 3 chips, and they have a circle that starts at 2 feet. It's worth 20 points. If you get lucky and you hold it out, it's 25 points. And then every 5 points out until 1 point will get you a points total. So you have 3 opportunities to hit 3 good chip shots in that 2, 3, 4, 5 foot circle to get the most points that you can gauge. And then you'll have an opportunity to hit 3 putts, which is the last skill of the equation. You'll hit a putt from 6 feet with the same circle that you used for pitching and chipping. And you'll hit another putt from 15 feet, and then the last putt will be from 30 feet. So, very heavily weighted on short game, which is the most important part of our game as a golfer. It's the chipping and putting, as we've done with our lesson series, to tie that in. Half of your score at the end of the day is in chipping and putting. So if you're very good and very efficient with chipping and putting, you're going to do well in the drive, chip, and putt. So it'll be a number of kids coming over from Pennsylvania, New York. We had some kids from Indiana and Illinois in our little local qualifier last year. And the local qualifiers will get 3 spots, top 3 in each division. Total points between the 3 skills will have an opportunity to go to Westfield Country Club for what they call the sub-regional. And they'll have all the locals in Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York will go to that sub-regional site. and they'll take the top 2 in each one of these points categories, and then it'll move on to a regional, which this year is at Scioto Country Club in Columbus. So, if you're a good golfer in the state of Ohio and you go through the local, the sub-regional, and regional, you don't have to leave the state. Last year, our son was fortunate enough to make it to that regional, which is the last step to go to Augusta, and it was held up in Michigan. So our regional really rotates between Michigan, New York, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, and this happens to be the year that it all lines up in the state of Ohio. So it does that about every 4 years or so. So it's neat to have that, and you don't have to travel very far, but the process itself is free to sign up. You go to drivechipandputt.org and you register online. There's probably 10,000 sites for these local qualifiers, and then they go down to about maybe less than 100 for the sub-regionals, and then there's only about 8 in the regionals to go to Augusta. Well, they'll take the top 1 from that regional, and those kids will have the opportunity to play Augusta the Sunday before the Masters tournament in 2023. So you'll get to see them. It's televised by the Golf Channel. It's a partnership between the United States Golf Association, the PGA of America, the RNA, and the Masters down at Augusta National. So it's a great event for the kids to get involved. And like I said, it's free. The whole process is free. You just have to make it to each one of those venues if you can.
How many participants do you anticipate having this weekend?
Well, ours is one of the last venues, so we don't get as much as the rest of the locals get because kids qualify and you only have one shot to qualify. So a lot of the kids will take an opportunity in April or May or June. So being one of the last ones, we get anywhere between 200 and 250 kids between the morning and about 2 o'clock is their last tee time, 2:30 their last tee time. And like I said, the process is about 10 minutes. It goes very, very fast. You hit 3 drives, then you're into your chipping, hitting 3 chip shots, and then you're hitting your putting. So they keep the kids moving throughout the course of the day. So it's a fast process. And then if you're lucky enough to win top 3 of each categories, they get ribbons, and top 3 will move on. So they do some nice prizes for the winners that move on to that Westfield and that sub-regional. So it's a great day for the family and at no charge. So we are, like I said, one of the ones that's a little bit smaller because a lot of the kids have had the opportunity, and you're dealing with vacations and family obligations and stuff. We have generally about 2 to 250.
How about that? 250 is on the small side. What are the bigger ones you bring in?
They're between 400 and 500 people. When it's all said and done. So, we're fortunate in the time frame, but it works out well here, and it allows us to showcase the Metro Parks as well.
Right, and I also want to talk about this upcoming Junior League in October. From my understanding, you guys got a couple of spots still opened up, and I know those ones usually go quick. But give us a little bit of a preview of that and what these spots entail.
You got it. Our fall junior golf camp, very popular. I think it's at a time of the year when kids are getting back to school. Number one, they've got a month or 2 of school under their belt. Gives them the opportunity to learn the game in the fall, and then allow them to practice during the winter and go to Top Golf and do all the things that we have the opportunity for here in the northeastern part of the country. But it's a 3-week golf camp. We do have some limited spots. I think 5 or 6 of the 40 or 48 spots that we're offering we're down to that last push, and it's in October. So it'll be 3 weeks, 2 weeks of instruction here at the main golf course, where you'll show up on a Sunday with 90 minutes of instruction. 2 weeks of those 3, and then the last week is really an opportunity for the kids to take what they've learned on the lesson tee and parlay that into playing a kids tournament in a scramble, and really showcase the par 3 golf course a little bit too. That's under the umbrella of the golf operation here in the Metro Parks. It gives them a little bit of a competition. We play a scramble, so it's not that much pressure. Plus, it gives the kids an opportunity to, know what's expected of them when they go to the golf course. How to fix divots and repair ball marks, and where to stand when somebody's putting, and all the little nuances and idiosyncrasies that come with the game of golf. Gives them the opportunity to learn that on the course, because a lot of junior camps will do things on the the pitching range or the putting green or the driving range. Chipping and putting and bunker play, but translating that and taking what you've learned to the golf course and putting it into a real scenario of you playing golf is a little bit different. So, we really try to accomplish that with all of our junior camps as much as we can. It gets a little bit tough for us here in the summertime with the leagues that go, but having that opportunity to be able to run this program in the fall and having access to the par 3 course really gives us the opportunity as golf professionals to teach the other side of the game beyond just, how to fix a swing, how to stand, how to hold the golf club. And it gives them real life situations that they'll experience when they do go to the golf course and play.
Brian, I apologize for going from October back to this weekend, but one more thing I want to talk about that coming up at Mill Creek Park this weekend is the Putt with the Police event going on Saturday. When you give kids the chance to putt with the Mill Creek Metro Police, and what do you love most about this event, and what can you say about previewing it, and what people should look forward to when they go out to it?
Well, for us, it's really a program delivered by our Metro Parks Police Department here. We had an instance where I had a friend that is up in Kent that's a sergeant and a policeman, and they did something similar. And I thought, man, what a unique idea, that they have a city-owned golf course up there as well, and they're doing the same thing with their police department. So I mentioned it to our police chief a couple years ago, and it basically turned into a nice community engagement event for them. They do the Hooked on Fishing program about a month or so ago. And then they were looking to add another 1 or 2 of these community-based events. And I'm like, how about we do a putting with police? I know they had success with that up in Kent. So basically our golf shop is really just volunteering to teach the kids how to putt. We'll set up a putt course on the practice green and the main green here at the Metro Parks. And it'll give the kids an opportunity to come out and experience the game of golf. If you haven't learned the game of golf, it's a great way to come out. So we'll set up a little 9-hole putt course with some pool noodles. Would be like bumper putt. The police will have the police cruisers out here for the kids to get pictures and sit in and see how police cruisers work. And it'll be a nice mid-morning event here in correlation with everything else that we've got in the golf course. And it's a great way for us to work with our police department of one of the 8 departments here at the Metro Parks to kind of do an event together and help them out a little bit with some instruction, and then have the kids have a nice fun day. There'll be some, hot dogs and some chips and, drinks and stuff for the kids. So it's a nice community-based event, but it's really run by our Metro Parks Police Department. And if you're interested in doing that, reach out to the Metro Parks Police here, and they'll get you signed up and ready to go. I know they have about 26 or 27 kids signed up as we speak. I think the max is about 30 or 36 when it's all said and done, but you're welcome to attend. It's free, and it's just a fun day out to meet the police. And it's really a community-driven event, and we're just happy to be part of it.
It's also got to be such a tremendous way to get the youth positive and good relationships with the police, and show them, build relationships with police, because that's what they try to do in schools, and that's what they try to do here. But this give another avenue for the police to build positive relationships with the youth of the area, so they can grow up knowing that, cops are your friends. These are the people that are here to help you. And I think it's strong. I think it's important to build those relationships early on in a kid's development.
Absolutely. And our police chief, Randy Campana, and his staff do a wonderful job with that, with all the community events that they do throughout the course of the year. And they're kind of in the background most of the time with the stuff that they do. But, having that bridge and having that relationship to know that if you have an issue, that you can come to the police in a nice, laid back manner, and there's no fear, I think is phenomenal. And I think, what Chief Campana and his team do on a daily basis here with the Metro Parks and helping people and bringing people together, I think this program will just add to it.
Brian, we have another episode of Tonar's Takes. I want to play it, and then we'll bring you back to talk about it.
You got it.
Hello everybody, Brian Tonar, Mill Creek Metro Parks PGA Director of Golf, and welcome to this week's YSN Golf Tip of the Week. This week we're going to talk about pitching and making sure that we get on the green from about 15-20 yards off the green. So first thing that we want to do is we want to make sure we take the right club. In the case that's right here, we've got a front right pin, so we don't have too much green to work with. I want a high lofted shot that's going to stop relatively quickly. Now, if this was a shot that was back left, I want something low and coming in there running like a bump and run. But for this week's shot, we're going to use a sand wedge. I've got a 56-degree sand wedge. Set up standpoint. This orange line represents our target line. On a normal shot, our feet, knees, and hips are always parallel. We're going to open them up slightly, and I'm going to play the ball off the back center. And the reason that I do that is I want this leading edge, much like chipping, to make sure that it gets underneath the golf ball. And again, we're going to use this bounce, which is the flange of the club, to allow our golf ball to go up into the air with some spin and check up and hopefully hit it pretty close to the flag. So from a setup perspective, we're going to open our stance up. I'm going to choke down a little bit on my grip, not all the way down like we would with chipping and not all the way up with a normal shot. I'm going to go towards the middle of the grip. I'm going to move my hand slightly ahead. I'm going to favor some weight on that front foot. And just like we talked about in chipping where we took the club back from kneecap to kneecap, this one's going to expand a little bit. We're going to go hip to hip. So it's going to be a little bit higher this way and a little bit higher this way in the follow through. And you'll notice my weight tends to want to transition. We're going to go ahead and let that do that throughout the shot. As I come back and through, you'll notice some weight coming off that back foot. Not all the weight like a normal swing, but enough to get the golf ball airborne and the power that we need. So from a setup perspective, golf ball there, hands ahead. Now I'm ready to make my move with arms and shoulders. And the key is to make sure that we follow through, because any grass or debris that gets caught between the club face and the ball will deaden the shot, and it's going to come off a little bit lower. Tendency will be for the ball to check up a little bit short. So we want to make sure the weight's on that front foot to allow that leading edge to come underneath. And again, it's arms and shoulders. The key to hitting a shot like that is to make sure your weight's on the front foot. We accelerate through, we have a nice finish, and the weight goes from our back foot to the front foot. For more tips like this and any other tips, please contact us at Mill Creek Metro Parks. Go to millcreekmetroparks.org or call the golf shop at 330-740-7112. And thank you for watching another YSN Golf Tip of the Week.
Brian, great job again with those. And one of the takeaways I had with that, how important weight distribution is in that shot, going from your front foot to your back foot. And that's something that, I'm sure that, golfers develop as they go, what kind of weight distribution you have to do for each shot. How do you kind of get the feel? How do you teach people how to get the feel of the weight distribution and how they should change how much weight distribution they go with each shot that they're taking?
Anytime that you hit, shots like this, you want to think of number one, setup. If you're set up properly and you're just making a normal golf swing, you're going to be in pretty good shape. So I think from the setup, having that little bit more weight on that front foot to really position and stabilize the lower bodies is vitally important. Plus, it keeps that leading edge of the club going downward to give you that airborne shot to where it's going to hit and check and then, release out towards the hole, which is where you want. You want to try to get it in that, 10 or 15 foot radius from that distance. So I think it's vital. And I think, people really tend to make mistakes when it comes to chipping and pitching by keeping their weight on their backside, when really you want to make sure that it's on your front side. If it's on our backside, the club will work upward a lot quicker. Therefore, you'll catch the blade of the club or center part of the golf ball, and you're not going to get the result that you're desiring trying to hit that shot. So I think, having that weight focused on where it needs to be and making sure that you have the proper club selected and you're using the bounce of that sand wedge is vitally important on making sure that you're going to hit that shot consistent every single time. So I think, as you hit that, you want to make sure that you're following through and you're maintaining your acceleration. Going back to what we talked about with that putt lesson, we really wanted to make sure we'd never decelerated through the ball. And it's really the same with chipping, and it's the same with, making that half swing all the way through there. So, if we keep the weight positioned where we need it to, and it's an afterthought and you just automatically set it there, learning the fundamentals of that pitch shot, I think are probably the most important, because if you don't set up the right way, you're kind of dead from the get-go. But having that weight distribution from back to front, and basically you're making a miniature golf swing, the lower half. And I see DJ, chiming in there.
Is this true or false? Did you?
Believe it or not, I actually hold that shot coming in there. I haven't held a shot in probably 5 years, and I happen to knock that one in. So every once in a while you get lucky, but it was a lot of fun, and we were laughing about it when we were done.
We talked
unnamed cameraman.
Yeah, unnamed source for sure. We talk about the weight distribution though, Brian. Let's talk about if someone has the wrong weight distribution on a shot too. Would they see it in the outcome of the shot and give some examples on that and how they know when they need to correct it and what they're doing wrong in a shot maybe?
Certainly, you'll see it immediately, and one of two things will happen if you're not properly set up and you're not transitioning your weight, in a proper sequence. Is number one, if your weight's on your back foot, the blade will have the tendency to work its way up. So you're going to hit a low shot that'll skid through the back of the green. It's going to come out, like a bladed shot. Number two, if it's back there and you happen to decelerate a little bit on the downswing, you're going to hit behind the golf ball. And those are the shots that you'll hit probably 5 or 10 yards in front of you and get them a quarter of the distance to the hole. So, making sure that we're properly set up is the most important part of, your short game, whether it comes to putting, when it comes to chipping, when it comes to pitching. And if you do those things and if you're fundamentally sound, you can get away with some bad shots. You're not going to get away with them if you're set up on the wrong foot or your weight's not where it's supposed to be, because you're going to have a lot of magnified errors coming your way, whether it's a bladed shot or the dreaded chunk, and now you have to hit the same shot over again, or you put yourself in a bad position with the bladed shot over the back of the green with not too much green to work with. I think there's a big difference in being able to see it right out of the way. I mean, you'll know immediately if you were set up improperly.
All right, Brian, that was a great episode. Before we let you go, preview next week's and what the fans of the tip of the week should expect in next week's episodes of Tolnar's Take.
Well, it's a good question. To be honest with you, I'm not sure what we've got coming up next week, but I know we've got some flop shots, we've got some bump and runs, we've got a myriad of different things across the scale. And I think we do greenside bunker last week. So I know we've got probably 3 or 4 of these ones left, and then we've got another whole series of what we call some trouble shots that'll be very interesting for everybody as well.
That's good. We'll be surprised with you when it pops up.
They come back
no matter what. We know it's going to be a good episode of Tolnar's Takes. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Brian, thank you.
We thank you, of course, as always, for joining us on these Wednesdays, too, giving us a little bit of that golf expertise, and we always look forward to the tip of the week. And like Anthony said, we'll be surprised with you next week, but we're excited, certainly, to unveil the next episode of Tolnar's Takes.
Thank you. You got it, guys. Have a great week. And then if you can send some people our way for this concert tonight to Morley, I think people will be more than happy with the performance of Justified. Great country band.
You got it. Brian Tolnar of Mill Creek Metro, the golf guru for YSN, joining us like he does every week. We can't thank him enough for all that he does for YSN, all that Mill Creek Metro Parks do for YSN. Proud partners that we have with them, and we continue our support in our partnership with them as we go on and closer to high school golf season. And I'm sure those golfers are starting to get on the course to practice for high school golf season as well.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the case as well. We know 8 teams of ours are represented at Mill Creek Park, so we get a good amount of Mill Creek representation, or I should say high school representation at Mill Creek Park. So we're going to look forward to getting a little of Brian's expertise on that as well. But one thing's for certain is every time Brian comes on, he comes at you with some great new tips of the week too. And if you missed any of these tips, you can go check out our YouTube channel at YSN Live too. Make sure you subscribe and hit those notification bells, and you'll get those weekly episodes as they do drop in. Then, as
they pop up, and you'll never miss a beat. You won't have to worry about YouTube's algorithm missing you, because we post a lot of video content on our YouTube page. So make sure that notification bell is clicked, and you never miss any of the content that we put up on our YouTube page, as well as all of our shows go on YouTube. Our post-game interviews go on YouTube. Our long-form interviews go up on YouTube. And so never miss a minute of any of the content we put up by making sure, 1, you're subscribed, and 2, you hit that notification bell. So because we post stuff almost every day. We say it all the time, but almost every day we have something popping up on that YouTube page.
Yeah, and if you missed any of those episodes, like I said again, of Tolnar's tips, you could go check them all out too. Every single one, as they get posted, goes straight to our YouTube page too.
You can binge watch it like a Netflix show.
Yeah, you can. Hey, you might want to take it out on the mobile, have it just on the phone while you're on the course. What am I doing wrong?
Have the iPad out, okay, here's Tolnar's Takes episode 2. It's all about yada, yada, yada.
Well,
okay, this is what I'm struggling with.
while you're doing that too, you might as well be on the same course that that Tolnar's on too.
I know, right?
Pick up Mill Creek's course while you
It'd
can.
be sacrilegious to pull up Tolnar's takes on a different golf course.
Yeah, go hit up Mill Creek's course for sure. And I
That'd
mean,
be like wearing a Mill Creek hat to a different golf course. It's the same thing. It doesn't make sense.
some good weather we've been having too.
Oh, yeah.
So take advantage of it while you can and get out there and enjoy a round or two of golf at Mill Creek too. They got plenty of courses there that you can enjoy.
Like Brian said, get out there tonight for Live at the Morley featuring this week Justified, a great country band that has been there for a couple of years now. They've coming back this year, and it's going to be a great concert. Make sure to get out there and have some fun if you like the country music. I kind of do, especially the ones I grew up with, like 90s country. That's my bop. Like you hit me with some George Strait, some Garth Brooks, some Tim McGraw. There we go.
You get down there, the country, and
Toby Keith, let's go. I don't know a lot of the newer stuff, but I'm sure I would jam to it. But I'm more of the guy, like my playlist is full of 90s country. Brad Paisley, George Strait, Garth Brooks, Shania Twain, stuff like that. 90s. I'm a country baby.
Point is too though for tonight. If you have nothing else going on for tonight, they got you covered over at Mill Creek too, and for saving some money in your pocket as well, and having a good night while you're doing it too. I mean, no one takes care of you like Mill Creek does.
Hey, if country music isn't your thing, head on to the Field of Dreams because there's a championship game going on. And
that's where we take care of you for the night too. We got you for the night too.
We got you.
Sports Ed. So you got your entertainment package with Mill Creek, but if the country band's not your swing and you're more into the swings of the bats of baseball, we got you covered for that.
Nice. On that very good segue, we should take our second break of the day. We'll be back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Reliability, innovation, scale. These three values are those we look forward to in our business and in our team. If you're ready for a reliable employer who looks constantly to think outside the box in big ways, we're ready for you. Apply now. Help us push the envelope and deliver success. Envelope 1. Take that one extra step.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun, it all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back into a Running Point episode on a Wednesday, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig, as always, joined by Ty Bartell on my right.
On the screen, sure.
On the screen's right. I guess it would be my left, but you're not next to me, so it doesn't make any difference. Before we go forward, I want to announce, and everyone, this is on YSN Social, and we want to announce that we are now officially looking for new members of our team for the fall sports season. Are sports a part of your DNA? Do you have a passion for local sports It's time to join our family of passion-driven personalities that care about your local sports teams. Connect with us to take your first step to join the YSN team this coming fall. Email info@ysnlive.com for more. We are always looking for more passionate people to join our team, whether it be announcers or content producers. If you're someone that maybe you're not interested in being on the mic per se, you can write stories for us. You can make graphics for us. We have so many different things that we could use. People, more hands on. You could be one of our show producers. Help Mike Ackles in the audible call, whatever it may be. If you have a passion for sports and you want to be a part of the coverage of sports in the area, even if it's not on the microphone as a play-by-play or a color commentator, make sure to take your steps into joining the best local sports coverage you can possibly find on YSN. Join our team today. Once again, connect with us by emailing info@ysnlive.com for more info if you are interested in joining our team this coming fall.
Yeah, and I mean it's a multitude of sports for literally every sport that we can get out to and cover. We look forward to it as well. And speaking of all the sports too, we're going to be looking forward at previewing some of the fall sports starting next week. We're gonna start getting our messages and our word out there too, and start bringing on some of these fall coaches to preview the high school seasons because we know they're right around the corner. Of course, that'll go and coincide with the coverage of our Boardman softball team in 12U2 as they hopefully continue to make their push into regionals.
And
of course,
our baseball teams that'll go to state and the NABF tournament, which starts for the sophomores this week, and then the juniors and seniors will be next week. So we have NABF baseball, still got Class B baseball going, trying to finish that one out. If not tonight, then tomorrow.
We're not saying goodbye to these other sports. We're sharing a little bit of airtime as we gotta welcome in the new guests. We like to make sure they get comfy with where they're at before the season actually starts.
Yes, and we're gonna do our absolute best to make sure we highlight every sport of the fall season, and one up our coverage last season. Last season we felt, me and Ty, after our fall season, that we did a pretty good job getting soccer coaches on, getting soccer players on, highlighting soccer along with football and volleyball. We're going to try to strive to do even more of that, get golf highlighted, get cross country highlighted, and make sure that all the athletes that do such a wonderful job and put the same amount of work into the classroom, into practices, into their workout routines, that they get the credit. They get the credit and the limelight they deserve. So as we venture into fall sports season, we want to encourage you that if you're interested to join our team, to once again email info@ysnlive.com. And on our side of things, stay tuned in the next coming weeks as we continue to preview the fall sports season, which is right around the corner, as Ty just said.
We're definitely looking forward to it. We're looking forward to seeing some of these renovations that are done to these fields and to see the new look on some of the turf fields that are going to be in the area as well. I can't wait for the first games to be played of the season. August 18th is the first Thursday that kicks off, and August 19th, everything else follows for this football season. Speaking of renovations, I know it wasn't in the fall sports realm. I know YSN shared it. I shared it on my social as well.
It is in the fall sports because I think there's going to be a pretty good team using that court. If I know where you're going,
I would say so as well.
I know where you're going.
And you know what's really cool about it is because the volleyball lines have that Falcon perfectly almost perfectly centered too, with that F in the middle. So like either way you're using it, it's a beautiful court. I love what Fitch did with the renovation over there for that court.
For people that don't know what we're talking about, Fitch has unveiled a brand new court inside their gymnasium, brand new floor. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure to go check it out on their social media account or our social media account. We shared it. It looks spiffy.
Yeah, it's a nice red
Seems like
white.
they're venturing away from the AF and the oval logo and trying to really stick home that block F logo.
I like the change of things though. I like trying to update it with modern times. I also like the fact that they chose navy for the back ends too, for the front end. Why am I thinking that? Side outs, What are those?
Hideouts and baseline.
Baseline. That's what I don't know why baseline. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. But I like that both the baselines I went with the navy, red on navy instead of navy on red with the.
I'll never forget baseline, Ty, because I'll never forget like when I realized what blob was. Because I was always like, when a kid, when I hear the coach yell blob, blob, I'd be like, what the heck is blob? Why are you yelling blob? Baseline out of bounds. So now I know what blob is. So baseline just sticks right in that memory bank.
I get the inbound passes from the baseline call all the time as well too, but I'm just not in the basketball mind right now.
Right.
I'm still baseball, softball right now.
You couldn't be. We have a whole season to go before basketball.
Yeah, I know. So I'm not in the basketball mind. I was not even in the right mind when I was thinking that, but I do like the new look of it. But there's a number, we mentioned it yesterday too, a number of football teams that have new turf too. We're going to be excited to see that as well. It kind of started last year too. We saw some other teams doing that. McDonald was one that finally got their things finished up in the middle
Ridge. I think Latonia opened theirs last year.
So it's nice to see a lot of these teams making that jump because we've seen a lot of new stadiums in just the last couple of years. Not stadiums, but new fields, I should say. New fields.
Renovated stadiums too. I mean, Boardman's still working on their entrance into the football stadium. They're making some renovations into the gateways of their football stadium, improving some of the concessions and the bathrooms that they have there. Because we go to practice every week for the Storm, and we practice on the high school field, so we get to see what's going on in the football field all summer. So they're making some modifications to that stadium. So some teams get a whole new stadium, some teams get a whole new field, but either way, upgrades are of plenty. And like I said yesterday, they don't just benefit the football team, they benefit every team that has to play outside, whether it be because they can practice on that field or because they can share that field with the football team and play on it as well.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not just football. It's soccer that'll play on these fields as well. We see a number of times. We see, like you said, baseball, softball teams that will either play or practice on the field in the spring. So it's utilized year-round too.
It usually comes with a nice all-weather track that you can use for your track season.
Yep, absolutely.
Back in my day, there were back in my high school days. I keep saying that like I'm old. Like I'm only 30, but back when I was in high school, the tracks weren't exactly great all around. Like I think there were maybe 4 or 5 tracks that could really be used to host, tri meets or a lot of meets to because there were only a couple of all-weather tracks available. South Range didn't have an all-weather track when I was in high school. So at least until my senior year when we moved to the new building. So most of my high school career, South Range didn't have an all-weather track. So they couldn't host, those league track meets or anything like that. So now you see more and more schools have tracks that can host, your county track meets or your league track meets, whatever it may be, which only benefits those student athletes as well.
Excuse me. I'm a big fan, though, of whether it's the hardwood or the fields. I'm a big fan of utilizing them for as many sports as long as you possibly can in a calendar year. And like we said, with the addition of these sports, such as the boys volleyball and girls wrestling, we're going to see the hardwood utilized. We're presuming almost the entire school year now, which is a great thing, I think, to utilize that gymnasium. But
this year, those gyms were used a lot because there were a lot of indoor practices.
Yeah, there absolutely was. But now, because if you do that, you also get that flow out of there for the indoor practices because the turf will allow a lot more practices to be held, at least on the football field. So either way, you're utilizing that more, and it allows you to use the gymnasiums more. And I think that's a great thing for sports in the area.
So we're going to see a couple of brand spanking new fields that will make their debuts on YSN, and with most of the camera views we get to showcase them in their ultimate beauty as well. And I can't wait to see them on the Audible call coming up in 5 Fridays from 2 days from now.
Yeah. So it's going to be rapidly approaching here, and we're excited for it. Certainly, I know we get a little bit anxious during this time, but hey, now it's starting to wind down in the season. We're gonna, like we said, start sharing some airtime with fall sports as they start approaching, because they're going to be here before we know it.
Tyus, we turn into a little bit of a billboard for trying to bring new people on the YSN. One thing I want to ask before we get out of here today, because you're turning into a veteran. I think this is your third football season with YSN.
I believe so. Yeah, I started, I think,
Um,
basketball season in 2019.
So
So
we can start calling you a little bit of a vet. You've had 2 seasons under your belt now. You're going into your third. What kind of things do you think you've experienced and grown in, and you would kind of advise people on why to come to work with YSN?
I think it's just important for the amount of repetitions you get, the reps you will get over the course of a season, whether that be you're following one team and you're getting that kind of close relationship build, or you're kind of floating around, jumping teams, getting an experience of sports in the grand scheme of the area and as a whole too. I think either way, it really helps you as a broadcaster because at some point you got to start somewhere, right? You can't just go on talking about pro sports, right, and just rehashing what you're hearing on television shows and stuff like that. You got to be able to build relationships. That's what these kind of companies, big companies, are looking for too, and that's what we're looking for as well. Got to be able to build those relationships with teams and build these relationships with coaches, with players, and take that next step in providing that kind of coverage that we don't see be covered in any other realm on television, on radio. Nothing else really covers teams or sports as closely as we do. So it's just being able to have that mindset of going in there, building relationships with these kids, these coaches, and communities as a whole.
Every boot camp that we do every fall, when we bring in the new people and we kind of go around the room and we ask the people that have already been with YSN, what's your favorite part about being a member of the YSN family? My answer never changes, and it's always the stories that we get to tell. I love telling stories, and there are so many great stories out there with young athletes, whether they be for your team that you went to, alma mater, or outside of your alma mater, that we get to highlight better than anybody else in the market. So that's my favorite thing about being with YSN. That's my most rewarding thing, is being able to kind of dive into these players and these coaches and tell their stories, and to kind of pour my energy into them per se, and say, we have your back, we're supporting you, and we make impacts on your life. So that's my favorite part, and that's where I get the most out of the job. So if that's something that, like, oh man, I want to tell stories, I want to get in, I want to learn what people are going through and learn where they're coming from in life, that's one of the things that you'll be able to do if you join our YSN family. And along with a lot of other things, I've been able to do a lot of things on YSN, a lot of different hats that I've been able to wear at one point or another, because that's kind of what we foster. We say, hey, try this, maybe you'll be good at it, maybe you won't, but let's try it, let's see what you do. And kind of how I started with this show. Hey Anthony, why don't you just, we need a spot filled, why don't you just try it and see how it goes? And here we are almost a year later, running strong with the new era Running Point.
Yeah, and I mean, just trying to continue bringing that local sports coverage to you, and those kind of interviews that you don't get to see every day on those TV stations or here on the radio. So we try to provide that, like we said, that kind of closer linked coverage that you don't really get anywhere else. And like we said, we kind of you could start small too. Start even with your alma mater. I think we both kind of did when we first started with this company, but it's definitely expanded. You expanded your horizons a little bit with Poland, and now obviously all the schools. I did it with Waterloo, and I'm continuing to expand the love for schools as well. And I'm going to continue trying to expand it too, because I think a little birdie's telling me this Garrettsville Garfield volleyball team is going to be really good. So I want to try to book as many tickets into that gym as I can.
It's going to be a heck of a rivalry between Garfield and Crestview in that MVAC. Last year, it came down to those two. Only 2 losses for Garfield in that league were to Crestview. So it's gonna. I have no reason to think it won't come down to those two again.
It's going to be a very exciting time this upcoming volleyball season. And don't forget, we keep promoting it. We're going to continue doing it every day. YSN Volleyball All-Star Game. Expect it to come this upcoming fall. Of course, more details will come on social media as that date approaches and we get through the season a little bit more. But for the first time in YSN's history, we're going to have the brightest volleyball stars under one venue to play an all-star game.
That's when the star goes across the screen. The more you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Ty, let's get into what we have on the network tonight. Game 4 with the Class B Championship Series with 18U. Creekside trying to hang on. Astro Falcons trying to win a championship. How do you see this one? You kind of shaping up, and what are some of your keys to victory for both teams?
It's going to have to start and end. I mean, I hate to be pretty lame with it and just keep on repeating it, but it's going to start and end with what Creekside's able to throw on that mound and how they perform. If we can get another Sigler-esque performance on the mound, I think Creekside will do just fine in this game. Problem is, you're going up against the best lineup that Class B has to offer. So doing it to them twice, it's like kind of catching lightning in a bottle twice. It doesn't happen too often. But for Creekside, they've gone to bat with this a very good Astros team 3 times now, and all 3 matchups they've really held their own. Pitchers have held their own. It's been a couple of bad innings. It's really been 2 bad half innings that define those first 2 games as losses for Creekside. It was that top of the or bottom of the first, in game 1, and was the top of the 7th game. Yeah, so 2 half innings really defined Creekside's beginning of the series, but it doesn't have to define the series as a whole because you still have you have no room for error, but you have you got those 2 losses out of the way. But now you still have a chance in this series, and right now you're the home team. So, like we said, and like I said at the beginning of the show, you had to think Creekside went into that game with the mindset, all right, don't let us win tonight, because if we win tonight, we're home team tomorrow. In game 5, anything can happen. It's win or go home
They
time.
will be the home team tonight, and they'll have that advantage late in the game if it stays close. But like I said earlier in the show, it gives Astro Falcons the advantage to set the tone early in this game. And for them, that's one of my keys to victory. 1, set the tone early, and then make some adjustments, because so far, even though you're up 2-1, your lineup hasn't really been firing on all cylinders against this pitching staff. So if you're the Astro Falcons, I think the lineup needs to make a few adjustments and try to kind of see what this pitching staff is attacking you with, and try to make adjustments so you can get those hits and win on your resume, not rely on Creekside making mistakes, which really is the way they won the first 2 games, because Creekside walked 16 batters in two games, and they gave up a couple runs in a couple of really bad innings. So you take those away, the Astro Falcons lineup really hasn't been getting the job done. So I think for them, you take your best foot forward, you make some adjustments in your offensive approach, and you try to say, we're going to win this game based on our resume and what we do, not on relying on the Creekside to make some mistakes. And on Creekside side, I think I said it, Creekside side. I think I said it when we talked about game 3. You just keep playing clean baseball, keep trusting the process. They played a clean game for the most part in games 1 and 2. It didn't go their way. They trusted the process. They came back, played an even cleaner game in game 3, got the win. So stay away from those free bases and keep doing what you're doing. And I think you have a really good chance to win this game.
Stay the course and keep improving on that game plan for Creekside. Don't change it up. Just keep improving on it. Clean up errors, clean up walks, and you have a solid game plan against Astros. And like you said, Ann, I'm going to agree with you. They need a better adjustment the second time through the order, because right now Creekside is making the better adjustments. It seems like that second time through the order, at least in game 1 and game 3, we saw that be the case. In game 2, of course, we know Astro kind of woke up, but it was again that first 2 times through the order that Creekside really was having their way with that order. So Astros just got to make those adjustments too, those counter adjustments, to be able to provide offense even in those middle to late innings to kind of boost their chances to win this next one.
So then we also have a if necessary game in Little League Baseball. Excuse me. The 9U championship extends to one more game tonight. Canfield versus Poland. Now it's winner take all. Everything's on the line. Championship. Who's going to state? Who's the district champion? Battle of 224. Everything you could ask out of a championship game. Field of Dreams L1. DJ Oakley will be on the call at 6:00.
They better make sure they have enough seating capacity to host all of Poland and Canfield, because I'm sure a good majority of them are going to be in attendance.
I wouldn't be surprised if the other teams came down to watch this, like the 12Us and the especially the 10Us that just played last night. Come and support your younger generation a little bit. It might be a really packed Field of Dreams tonight. I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm excited. I'm excited for it too. It's the Battle of 224 with the stakes raised even higher.
Forks high, raise the stakes, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how we do it. Get some stakes for yourself with the RBIs, as some coaches like to call it.
Yeah, grab yourself some
Grab yourself
steak.
some steaks, brother. We will go to the Storm Tracker 21 app because last time we checked, there was a slight chance of some unfortunate weather tonight. And as we look now, the chance of a thunderstorm does still apply at 4, 5, and 6, according to Storm Tracker 21. The worst chance of rain, though, is at 7 o'clock with a 90% chance. Everywhere else from 2 to 7, it is below 60%. So that 7 o'clock hour is where we're going to watch the most because it is the hour where we have the 70% chance of rain, according to our good friends over at Storm Tracker 21.
Yeah, we're going to have to keep a close eye on that too and see if weather is going to permit for us to get these games off. But of course, we'll be talking with our friends over at WFMJ. We're going to be staying tuned to their storm tracker, and we're going to be posting it on our socials too. So you'll get all the updates on the games if they're happening and if any postponements are happening, of course, on our socials.
Andrew DePaolo, he's our guy. So he'll have you taken care of as far as the weather forecast up to date on that Storm Tracker 21. Follow their Twitter. They do have almost hourly updates on something, whether it be the current temperatures, the day-to-day forecast, hourly forecast. They're always putting up new information as the day goes on. If you don't follow them on Twitter, get over to the Twitter and follow them at Storm Tracker 21.
Yeah, get over to that Twitter for sure.
Get over to that Twitter.
Follow them on Twitter and make sure you keep up to date.
Another thing that we're excited for, Ty, and this is coming up very soon. It's actually starting tomorrow. The NABF World Series start tomorrow at 5:30, and every game will be on the network. We have Richie Giuliano, Noah Ricks, Ian O'Brien, all going down the scene to cover games tomorrow. So that is the sophomore World Series, by the way, for the NABF. So sophomores start tomorrow through the weekend, and then the juniors and seniors will start next week.
That's exciting times as well. So getting to be a part of that, and then we get baseball to start next week as well. So it's going to be a huge baseball weekends on the network. And there's Chris Ziegler, firsthand experience of the crowds last night, saying they were fantastic. And I can only imagine in an elimination game, Canfield, Poland. Are you kidding me?
Are you?
That's
and then, I think Seton Park will have a pretty good crowd on hand as well.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The crowds have been really showing up for these series, and it's 18U, highest quality of baseball over there at Class B that you can really get. And it's game 4, and it's Creekside trying to wave off elimination.
Ty, you'll be going to Scene on Friday morning. Looks like you have a game at 10 a.m. on Scene 1.
Yeah, we're going to be having, I'm going to be, I should say, getting an experience a little bit with this NABF tournament over the start of the week.
If you want the entire NABF schedule for the weekend, head over to the Twitter account, NABF. I want to get the actual @ It's NABF info is the @ handle for the Twitter of the NABF information department, and they will have a full schedule of the weekend's game. Once again, the Sophomore World Series starting tomorrow. All games will be on YSN, and it looks like tomorrow there's going to be Avalanche in action. The Astro Falcons are in action. Ballistic Baseball, who we're familiar with, will be in action as well. And then a bunch of other teams from other areas of not just Ohio, but the country.
We're excited for it. I got to experience it last year, and I'm just as excited to experience it this year.
So that all kicks off with the sophomore division tomorrow through Sunday, and then the juniors and seniors will be next week as well. Bob Seton Park staying very busy once the Class B season wraps up.
Yeah, absolutely. Class B season wraps up, and Scene waits little time and bringing in more teams.
So we're going to take a step away. We'll take a 22-hour break. We'll be back tomorrow from 12 to 2. We have some members of the newly champion Whiting 16U team joining us tomorrow on Running Point. And we'll also be talking about, maybe talking about a champion in Class B 18U, maybe talking about a winner-take-all Game 5. We'll definitely be talking about a champion in the 9U districts for Little League, as that is a winner-take-all game tonight at the Field of Dreams at 6. So we'll be back tomorrow from 12 to 2, 22-hour break. Casual Sports Podcast coming up next, and then the Power Hour wraps you up for the shows from 3 to 4. Baseball starts tonight at 6 with the Little League 9U winner-take-all championship at 6, and then the 18U Class B championship, Game 4 of the series at 7. So we'll have you taken care of for the